Hey everybody, welcome to Eating Scraps. These are some common vegetables, and mostly vegetables, root vegetables and others that, well, people just throw away a lot of times because they don't know they can be eaten. And I was raised that, the root vegetables, we just ate the roots. We didn't know the tops could be eaten. And here I am, 60-year-old, and I'm still learning that you can eat some of the tops of the root vegetables, and some of the stems on the vegetables that people just eat the tops of. So let's look at some of them today, and look at some common food that a lot of people just toss out as table scraps that can be utilized for food and eaten, and how they can be used and eaten. The first thing we're going to look at is broccoli stems. You know, I've always enjoyed broccoli and salads, and especially fresh broccoli. We eat it a lot. I buy frozen broccoli right now, and we fix it with rice. I put a bed of rice on my plate and lay some broccoli over top of it, and spread a little cheese over it. Man, it's delicious with a meal. And I just never give it a whole lot of thought. I buy the broccoli sprouts, and I don't have any stems with it. But you can eat the broccoli stems, especially fresh broccoli stems. I wouldn't recommend going to the grocery and buying broccoli with stems on it and cutting them up and trying to eat them. They might not be too fresh and might not taste too good, but fresh ones, according to this article that I found, are really good to eat. It says peel the outer layer of broccoli stems. There's a tough outer layer on your broccoli stem. That's one of the reasons I always just throw them away. I just assumed that they weren't any good. But this says to peel that off, slice it long and thin for a fantastic addition to coleslaw or stir fry, or eat it tossed with a salad. Slice it into chips and serve them with hummus or veggie dip. Whatever you do, don't throw out the most delicious part of the plant. I didn't know that. And I'm sure some of you do, but I'm sure some of you, probably like me, in the past have thrown out those stems. Well, this coming year, when we get fresh broccoli, I'll not be throwing out the stems. I'll be peeling them and eating them. Yes, we'll be trying that. This article here said that even people who don't like broccoli, if they would peel those stems and try them in these fashions like this, that they would end up being people who like broccoli. And I don't doubt it a bit. We just never know, if we don't try things, how good they can be. And the next thing is cauliflower. Now, the first thing we do when we get cauliflower ready for a salad is we peel the leaves off and throw them in the trash. Throw them out as scraps. If we had chickens, of course, we'd throw them out to chickens. But again, that's something that can be eaten, or the leaves off of cauliflower. This article here says that what you'll want to do is take the leaves off and roast them with a little bit of olive oil and salt and pepper. Just roast it. Roasted cauliflower leaves. Who would have ever thought of that? Well, I'm sure some of you have, and some of you probably ate them, but I never did. We always grew up, when we had cauliflower in the house, and they was making a salad, they would just tore the leaves off and throw them in the trash. They went out with the table scraps, When I was a kid, they got fed to the chickens, of course, just like the broccoli stems and everything else that we threw out that chickens would eat. But yeah, we'd just throw it all out, just like it was worthless. But according to this article, it's pretty good stuff to eat, and I'm going to try that. These are things that I'm finding here that I'm going to be trying, and it's going to stretch our grocery bills. These things will help you out with your grocery bills right here. Another thing that this article speaks about is radish tops. Now, I had never given a thought to radish tops ever in my life, that they would be fit to eat. But now this one here says, have you seen radish leaves? They're prickly. It says, yes, they're a little fuzzy, but they make a nutrient-dense addition to salads. If the fuzzy part bothers you, chop them up and toss them in a stir fry or saute them in a little butter as a tasty side. I didn't know you could eat radish leaves. I was like that. Well, who would want something like that? But according to this article, you can chop them up and stir fry them in a little bit of butter, and it makes them very tasty. Well, most green, lettuce and cabbage, and we just got our new lights and lipstick back in. They are stunners. We've got this hot lipstick, stunning lipstick. Be sure and get yours before they get gone again. These things move fast. Thank you all. Kale and all this stuff you grow in your garden for just the leafy greens, when you look at it, they really don't look a whole lot of difference than the tops of some of these things. But I had never given it a thought to eat the tops of these vegetables. Says you can even grow rat tail radish, which gives you plenty of these zesty little seed pods to munch instead of the usual roots. So you can eat the seed pods, it says. A crunchy little zesty seed pod that's good for you. I would have never dreamed it. What about carrot tops? Every time we ever pulled carrots and brought them in, we just cut the tops off and throw them out. Chickens ate them, or we'd throw them out in the trash. We never kept carrot tops for anything. Well, what would you do with the carrot top? According to this, they're edible too. Very tasty. It says carrot tops taste a bit like Swiss chard and parsley. They have a pleasant earthiness to them. You can tear them and toss them in a salad, add them to salsa or chutneys, and blend them into pesto, hummus, or other morning smoothies. Carrot tops. Well, they have to be good for you. They come from a carrot. Well, you eat a bunch of carrot tops, you might be able to see 2 or 3 miles. Who knows what might happen? Oh, goodness. Carrots. I'd have never thought of eating the tops of the carrots. Watermelon rind and seeds. These people eat watermelon rinds and seeds. But now there's a trick to the watermelon rind. You can just chew the seeds and eat them, they said, but what they do is they pickle their watermelon rinds. And there's articles out there on how to pickle watermelon rind. I didn't know. I had no clue that you could pickle watermelon rinds. The writer of this article said they grew up eating pickled watermelon rinds, and they were really good. It says the rind changes in texture when you pickle it, and the finished product becomes nearly candy-like with its sweet, tart taste. Well, some of you's going to have to pickle some watermelon rind this summer and tell us what it tastes like. Somebody knows how to pickle this stuff. Somebody that's good at it. I just would have never thought of pickling watermelon rind. That's another thing that you grow in your garden and you end up throwing it out, and the chickens or birds or something eats it, or you toss it out in the trash. My goodness, the watermelon bud's got a lot of rind to it. Probably end up making 3 or 4 quart jars out of a watermelon. Who knows how many you can make out of it? I don't know, maybe a half a dozen, but that'd be a lot, Watermelon rind, stuff we just throw away. Another thing that we found in this article is sweet potato leaves and vines. Well, I've never ate a sweet potato leaf that I know of, or a vine. We always just dug the sweet potatoes and let the vines rot, or you'd throw them on a compost pile or something. We never dreamed of eating sweet potato leaves or sweet potato vines. And all I ever thought about was eating the sweet potatoes from them. But now in this article it says in many places around the world they use these nutritious sweet potato leaves and vines in their everyday cooking. So they use them in stir fries with garlic and a bit of chili paste and sauteed with coconut milk. How about that? Well, they'd have to be good. They're just like the vines, I guess, would be just like the greens that we grow in the garden. The leafy greens that we grow to eat. And then here's beet tops. Who would have thought of eating beet tops? I'm sure probably some of you all do, but I never did. A lot of these things, just these root vegetables, I never dreamed of eating the tops of them. And I know that's going to sound real silly to some of you, but we just wasn't raised eating the tops of this stuff. Says beets are another fantastic green that very rarely make it to the table. And it's a shame, as they taste as good as Swiss chard or kale, and their color is beautiful. Plus, you don't have to dedicate extra garden space to this tasty dark leafy green if you're already growing the beets. You grow the beets and you get the greens right off the top of it. That's something. Says here's an ideal. If you're purchasing beets at a farmer's market, ask if the vendor will save you the bag of beet tops. How about that? Next time you head to the vendor's market, if you see people that's got vegetables that they're selling that they cut the tops off of, ask them to save you the tops. There's you some free greens. I'd have never thought of doing that. But now these folks are pretty slick, buddy, I tell you. I like that. Another thing they do, and I've heard my mother speak of this, but I never did try it, was squash blossoms and young leaves, squash leaves. I heard my mother talk about sauteing squash blossoms and eating them, and she talked like those were the most delicious things. And I just never could bring myself to do that. And not because I thought it would taste bad, but I didn't want to lose the fruit from eating the bloom. So I guess if you've got a whole lot of blooms on your plants, you could spare a few of them maybe and eat the blossoms. And now I'd never heard of eating the young leaves off of those, but according to this article, you can. It says along with the blossoms, the very young leaves of squash are edible as well. You can even eat the small new leaves of cucumbers too. And if you've never eaten toasted pumpkin seeds, then you already know, or if you have eaten toasted pumpkin seeds, you already know how good those are. Toast squash seeds and nibble on those also. I'd have never thought of toasting squash seeds like you do pumpkin seeds. So it's just so much stuff that's out there that we don't know about, or that I don't know about. Now, you may know about most of all this stuff, and I'm sure some of you do know the most of it, but I didn't know about a lot of this stuff. Parsley roots. I know people use, the tops of parsley, but I didn't know they ate the roots. It says parsley roots at the end of the growing season. Why not pull the parsley up and toss those tasty little roots into a soup or stew? It tastes a bit like all of your favorite root vegetables, carrots and turnips, with a hint of celery. Add them to dishes where you want to add more earthy flavor and give the recipe a bit more body. Parsley roots. That's a good thing. Pea shoots. Now I know some of you eat pea shoots because I've heard you talk about pea shoots on here before when we were doing other videos. But now I hadn't thought about it until you all mentioned it, but I did want to bring this up in the video also. It says pea shoots, not to be confused with pea sprouts. Pea shoots are the longer, more developed stem of pea plants. Harvest them when they're tender and small, about 4 to 6 inches long, but don't take too many or you won't have many pea pods later in the spring. You don't want to eat all your peas up before they have a chance to grow peas on. Another thing is celery tops. Now, I never did keep celery tops for anything. We always brought our celery in, and just cut it off and trashed the tops and kept the stems. We love celery in soups and things like that, but I'd never dreamed of eating celery tops. And this article mentions that says in every grocery store you'll find bags of celery hearts with the tops and outer stalks removed. I've always found this so strange. The light and fresh taste of celery leaves are a welcome addition to many dishes. I often use celery tops chopped up in egg or tuna salad. Save celery tops in a plastic bag in your freezer and use them when making stock or add them to soup. So I had never thought of that stuff. Those are some things that normally is just considered or has been in my family, has been considered table scraps for the most part, and got thrown out and was never eaten. So if you eat any of these things or utilize these things, let us know in the comments below. Let us know how you use them. And if you've not, hopefully this will help you that in the coming months and this summer that maybe you can start utilizing these things, even if we're going to try to start doing that. And I'm going to start going to the farmers markets, and I'm going to start seeing just how much stuff that we can get like that in leaves off the tops of these root vegetables. If you do that and you're successful with us, be sure to let us know. Or if you've done that, let us know. And if you enjoy our videos, we'd ask that you subscribe to our channel. Like the videos, click that bell icon when it appears to be notified of the new videos as we upload them. And buddy, hopefully we'll find something else that will surprise us. I hope so. I'm constantly being surprised on here. But anyway, we want to say thank you and God bless you. We pray that the Lord keep and watch over you. And you know, we try to remind people not to lean to their own understanding when we get on here, but lean on the understanding of God and the knowledge of His Word, and lean on Him in all His ways. Learn of Him, for He is good. And with that being said, we'll see you guys in the next video.